Hello, welcome to Gemstone Tarot, December the 28th, 2025. Yes. What day it is? Well, that's the question. I don't know. Honestly, I know the date. I don't know the day. That is good enough for me at the moment. Still in the hinterland of nothingness, but very, very gorgeous. Sunshine, crisp clearness, a little bit of frost, a little bit of dew on the roofs. So I'm going to go out for a walk in a bit, and Valentine joins us. Here she is. And Diablo went for a bit of an exciting stroll. She went missing yesterday for a few hours. I know. And she was discovered. She doesn't go very far, Diablo, even though she is a bit of a, bit of a one. I think, because she's on the drugs for the peeing on the microwave and whatnot, she was a little bit disorientated, so she went out and got herself lost, not far from the house, but far for her. So she was brought back in a wriggling ball. Took about 4 hours to find her, and then when she was found, she did do big meows to be found, so she obviously was a bit out of her depth. Also found Ginger Nuts and Barry, who is her baby daddy, in the vicinity. So I feel that there was more to the story. There was some kind of cat drama went on. Her tail, when she was brought inside, like a bog brush, and then she was just doing loads and loads of rolling over things for ages. Very pleased to be home, but also extremely excited to have seen the bright lights of the city. So thereby hangs a tale, I reckon, for the future. I know, she's a bit of a one. Maybe she can go and pee on someone else's house and then come back in. Hey ho, we're going to have a collective noun, and we have moved into professions, and we have a tabernacle of bakers. How nice is that? Bread was the mainstay of a medieval peasant's diet, with meat, fish and dairy produce too expensive to be eaten any more than once or twice a week, and then only in small quantities. While the rich dined on venison, partridge and quail, the poor had soup made from root vegetables and whatever grain they could lay their hands on. This dependency on bread as a staple food meant that strict laws were put in place to govern its distribution. These were enforced even more fiercely after the famine of 1315 to 1317, when repeated crop failures meant that grain harvests produced far less food than was needed to feed the starving populations of Europe. The law stated that no baker was allowed to sell his bread from beside his own oven. That's interesting. And must instead purvey his produce at one of the king's approved markets. Any baker found selling his bread from his own oven or private shop was fined. So most set up stalls at markets. These small portable shops were known in Middle English as tabernacular. How nice is that? Which is defined by Dutch lexicographer Junius Hadrianus. That's a name in itself, isn't it? The Nomenclator, a book written in 1585, containing proper names and apt terms for all things under their convenient titles, as little shops made of boards. The word came to English via Old French from the Latin word tabernaculum, meaning tent or hut, although there may have been a crossover with the tabernacle described in the Hebrew Bible as a kind of mobile home for the divine presence during the Exodus from Egypt. A tabernacle, why can't I say that word? A tabernacle of bakers. That was nice. I am musing because I feel that we are in this betwixt and between sort of, maybe because of the weather that I'm in at the moment, it gets dark and it's very clear and you can see the stars, and it's feeling very, whatever this tarot is called that I can never remember the name of. I always want to call it Unlimited Tarot and I don't know why. Chris Krantz, Wild Unknown. Whew. Yes. Why do I want to call it the Unlimited Tarot. Every single time I go through exactly the same thought process when I pick up this tarot. It never carries over. Tis what it is. Tis what it is, Valentine. Yes. Oh my God. Let me just check these. I don't know. I'm getting a lot of reversals at the moment, and these are not all in the reverse. But I can feel that. Sometimes reversals are not negative either. They're just like nothing can happen type energy. You know, this can't happen. Or it shouldn't yet happen. Or you can feel the restriction of it not happening. And that is definitely what I'm getting. Yeah. Underneath I've got Father of Swords in reverse, which is kind of King of Swords vibe. It can be, for some of you, it can be narcissistic sort of environments. It can be over-authoritarian environments. So it can be too many rules, too much strict adherence to something. It can be patriarchal, divine masculine gone a bit bossy and salty, you know, that kind of thing. So, I mean, you know, are the relatives still in the house? I don't know. Could it be that? For some, yeah. For others, you're just feeling the restriction of something. And it's not like an Eight of Swords restriction. It's more of a mental prison restriction, or there is a strong sense that someone or something or some law wants you to do it this way. And you don't think that works for you. Sorry, I don't know why. I seem to have like some kind of... I've put my lip balm on and I seem to have attracted every bit of fuzz that's in my house, which is a lot of fuzz. We've got the... Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Six of Pentacles in reverse. You're not feeling generous. It reminds me of Margaret Thatcher. I know, speaking of the King of Swords in reverse. When, I can't remember what someone was trying to push her on, but many people tried to push her on lots of things. And she famously said, I think, the lady is not for turning. So the lady is not for turning. And I'm just getting that. And, you know, I wasn't a massive fan of Margaret Thatcher. But that part of her I did quite admire, the lady is not for turning part, under extreme amounts of pressure. So, while not being a fan of Thatcher at all, probably the opposite if I'm honest, there's something resolute about you at the moment that is good. In the face of quite a lot that is difficult. We've got Son of Swords in the reverse, which means you don't have a lot of facts to go on in order to say, I'm not doing it because of X, Y and Z. It's more a case of I'm not doing it because it doesn't feel right. And I can't explain why. And also, I'm not going to. Because I haven't got the facts. I know what I know and I'm doing what I'm doing. Then we have the Fool in the reverse. And especially this version of the Fool. When it's in the reverse, it's like you have this little chick and it needs to learn to fly. And at some point it will have to bob off the branch and give it a whirl. But right now is not the time. Right now is not the time. It's very strong when the Fool's in reverse for me. It's like, don't do that just because they want you to. Because I don't think you want to. And sometimes that's enough. I don't want to. Complete sentence. We also have Justice in reverse, which is... It's not necessarily fair what's going on around you. And this happens sometimes. I don't like it when people say, well, life isn't fair, you know, because it's not that blanket. But sometimes it's the wind is not behind you. And also with Justice, it's very old-fashioned. It doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right. We then have the Queen of Cups or the Mother of Cups, which is intuition and also gorgeous little fairy lights. Intuition, scrying and feeling something. But also we have the Ten of Cups in reverse next to it, which is feeling you're quite sad that it isn't right. You're sad that it doesn't really work for you that way. but at the same time, it still isn't right. And then finally we have the Daughter of Pentacles, which is like the Page of Pentacles, which is just a very nice message saying slowly, carefully, the rainbow is unwinding. I like that. But this is not easy. It's not an easy scenario, but you're not for turning. Leave me a comment. I'll see you tomorrow. Namaste.